Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm creating a birthday card using these poppy flowers from Mama Elephant. So normally I don't use flowers on my cards. I am not really comfortable with them, and I also don't own a lot of flowers, but I own this stamp set from Mama Elephant and I think these flowers are adorable. They are big, but they are also simple, and that's what is important for me. So how I'm going to do this, I'm first going to stamp out my flowers using this spiced marmalade because I decided that I was going to use a combination of barn door and spiced marmalade to create these flowers. You can also stamp them out using some no-line coloring ink or the antique clean and distress ink as I normally use. But in this case, as I'm going to keep this orange as my lightest color, I just thought that it would work as well. So I am creating this card because I got a question of one of you to show you how I would tackle flowers with the way I do watercoloring. And actually I'm doing the same as always with a little twist. So the red is my darkest color and I'm adding as always to the edges this color, and then I'm dragging it out using a damp paintbrush. Now because of the size of these flowers, I thought that it was a good idea to work with two colors, being this orange and red. And instead of dragging the red all the way out towards the end of the leaves as well, or the petals, I am adding the orange on the edge where I want the lighter color to be and then dragging it towards the rest. So actually the red and the orange are going to meet in the middle of each petal, and this way I'm going to create these flowers. It's also because of the size. If you perhaps have a flower that is smaller, you probably won't need two colors. You can always do this. But if I had smaller flowers, I think I would just use one color and do as I always do, just drag it towards the complete rest of each part of the flower. But in this case, with poppy flowers as well, they are orangey red. I just wanted to meet somewhere in the middle. So that's what I'm doing. Just take a huge amount of the ink, barely any water, add it to the edge, and then dragging it out. And then from the other side of the petal, I am going to add the orange and drag it towards the rest of the image with a damp paintbrush. And that's actually how I did these images. And I must admit, I'm quite happy with the result, but of course I want to know what you think about this. Are you comfortable with flowers, or are you like me and you try to avoid them as much as possible, or not? I am really curious. And I must admit, it was a challenge for me. But I am glad that I tried it out and that I can show you what I would do. So if you have any questions to see, or if you're curious in something, you can always ask me if I am able to show you. For example, in this case, I was lucky to have one stamp set with flowers. But if I'm able to show you how I would do it, I will definitely try to show you. So questions, leave them down below in the comments if you want to see something particular, and I'll try my best. So for the rest of the coloring, I will put on some music. I hope it's relaxing for you. Lately I got a message that it's really a zen moment when you can see the coloring, and I am so relaxed when I do watercoloring with my distress inks, so that was a wonderful compliment. So yeah, enjoy the coloring and I will be back afterwards. Okay, so here I'm just going to pop on for a few minutes. As you see, I am coloring here my second flower, and in a few moments my boyfriend is going to come in while I'm coloring, and he dropped something. So here I just got really scared and I had this mistake, and the advantage of distress ink is that it's water reactive, so just take a wet paintbrush, go over it, dab it off, go again if needed. But then there is, of course, the reds. Those colors really are difficult to erase if you made a little hiccup. As you can see here, I sort of got everything away, but still there is that soft color still on the back, and it was really bothering me. But I was so far already in the coloring process that I really didn't want to stop. So I was just trying to figure out how I would correct it later on, and you will see I'm just going to add a few bubbles from Little Things from Lucy's cards, and these will cover up this small error. So you know it, but the recipient will never know it, except when she or he will look at the video. But I don't think they are going to watch my videos. But yeah, that's how you can correct it. It's a small area, but first, after I have colored everything in, I am also going to try to cover it up with some distress inks. But that didn't work. But that's for later. So I'm just going to put again some music on there, and afterwards I will be back. So now that the flowers are ready, I'm going to stamp out these stems. Therefore, I first need to create some masks for my flowers themselves, because these stems are going to run a bit higher than they should. And then I also will use some purple tape, because I want to reserve my stitching details being white on the edges, as you know me. And if you would leave your background white, you don't need to fussy cut your mask all the way. You can just fussy cut the bottom of your flowers, and that will be just fine. But in my case, I'm going to do some ink blending as well, and these masks will also be used therefore. So I'm just going to fussy cut them all the way. It's also really handy if you use some masking paper or full stick post-it notes that you can reuse later on. If you have fussy cut them all the way, that's always handy for later. So I'm just stamping it out using my Gina K Design Amalgam ink, but any ink would do. Just an ink that you can see on your masking paper is important. And then I'm going to fussy cut these out. And I was wondering, when I need to fussy cut anything, I am still using my scissors. As you can see here, they are from high school. The point is rounded. It's really not handy for those tiny spaces. So maybe you have like some sort of a scissor that you really like to use to fussy cut, then I would really appreciate it if you would leave that in the comments, because I'm really looking for one that will help me even more when fussy cutting. I don't do it often, but maybe I'm also just avoiding it because of the quality of my scissors. So let me know in the comments if you have a good sort of scissor, and then I'll try to get my hands on them. So here I'm placing down my masks and then the purple tape on the bottom edge. And then I can stamp out the stems. So for the stems I'm also going to use the lightest color of the two, which I'm going to use to color them in, and that's the crushed olive. The other color that I'm going to use to paint these two is peeled paint, just for the shadow part. So therefore I'm using the lightest color to stamp them out. So now that everything is colored in, I'm going to do some ink blending to try to cover up that small mistake on the bottom that you know about. So first adding my purple tape again to reserve my stitching details. And then I'm also going to create some masks for the stems. Not that the color that I'm using is like really dark, but I really like the colors from the crushed olive and the peeled paint, and I didn't want to work them. I just wanted to reserve these two colors. So yeah, I'm just going to stamp out those stems again, fussy cut them out. It's really easy because it's just straight lines, and then I'm adding it to this panel. And the distress ink that I'm using for the panel is antique linen, because I didn't want to take away from the color of the flowers. I also thought about cracked pistachio because I really like that color, but then yeah, my flowers are really bright already, so I just wanted to keep it really soft, the background. So antique linen is just perfect. So here I'm also adding a bit of purple tape to keep those masks from the stems in place, because they are so thin and fragile that I thought that this was the way to go. And then I'm going to ink blend a bit from the left bottom upwards, and then from the right top a bit more downwards. So it's really soft, it's barely any difference, but then in the end result you really see the antique linen as well. So I'm just blending, and here I was getting a bit disappointed that it wasn't covering the mistake, but no worries, we will fix it. We will cover it up. So I'm just really softly ink blending, that's all. And then I'm going to remove my masks, stamp out my sentiment, and then add some sequins. And as you saw already before, I'm keeping those masks from the flowers on the back of my stamp set, really easy, and it's always handy that you can see which ones you already have for future projects. Sometimes I'm really wondering how many purple tape I'm using each time that I'm covering my stitch details like this. Yeah, luckily it's not that expensive. But yeah, so this is my panel, and I'm not going to add any more colors to it. So I am choosing for a birthday sentiment, so it's from the Scripty Bday. I am just lacking of birthday cards. I don't know how it's with you, but I'm like, once I get going with those Christmas cards, all the rest is just, yeah, I'm just putting it behind. The Christmas cards are so much fun to make, and it's only for one day. Can you imagine? There are birthdays each day, and I am lacking birthday cards. So I'm also trying to make some more birthday cards while I'm recording this one. So I'm hoping to share those with you as well. Because we need birthday cards. I'm like, I love making cards, but sending them is really not my strong suit. I don't know why. But yeah. So I'm catching up with the birthday cards, or I'm trying to. So here I'm just stamping out my sentiment using Gina K-Design Amalgam ink. And then I'm going to place some bubbles on top of it. These are from Little Things from Lucy's cards. I just love her sequins. Her mixes are just fabulous. You don't need to think about color combinations. She already did that for you. I just love, love, love it. And the most important thing about these bubbles was to cover up that small error and then just see that everything just fitted with each other. So that's what I did. And then once I was happy with it, I added them using some liquid glue, and then I only needed to add this panel onto a card base, and then it's finished. So I really hope that you enjoyed the card making process of this one. If anything wouldn't be clear, just ask me down below. I'm happy to help. If you're also wondering about something and how I would tackle it, or what I would create with it, just ask questions down below as well, and I'll see what I can do, because I would love to help, of course. So yeah, that's it. I really, really hope that you enjoyed it. If you like this card and the process that you just saw, please give this video a thumbs up, and if you aren't subscribed yet, you can always click on that button down below in the description box, and then you can see all my videos. And for the rest, I hope you have a wonderful day, and see you soon. Bye!